Welcome to SelfCrafted Life, the space where you stop doubting, start trusting, and finally live as the real you. The mark of true love. Why we mistake chaos for love in today's world. It's not uncommon for people to mistake emotional chaos for romantic depth. We've been raised on stories that celebrate the chase, lovers struggling through misunderstandings, navigating impossible odds, only to finally unite in the last moment. Movies, songs, and novels paint love as a storm, intense, unpredictable, and often painful. Because of this, many of us carry the deep belief that real love has to hurt. If it's too easy, it can't be real. If there's no drama, there must be no passion. But what if this mindset has led us astray? What if the people who leave us guessing, who constantly pull away, who require decoding, aren't more romantic, but just emotionally unavailable? And what if the relationships that feel calm, consistent, and safe are actually the ones we should have been seeking all along? This video is a call to reframe how we think about love. It's not about giving up on romance or settling for something dull. It's about choosing the kind of love that nurtures, not drains. The kind that gives you peace of mind, not sleepless nights. If you've ever found yourself in relationships that leave you exhausted, confused, or constantly questioning your worth, this may be the most important lesson you'll learn. We're going to break down the difference between love that grows and love that harms. And more importantly, how to know when it's time to stop trying so hard and simply walk away. 1. The allure of emotional complexity. We're often told that love is messy. So, when we find ourselves in a relationship full of mixed signals, unanswered texts, and emotional highs and lows, we assume it's normal, maybe even exciting. The truth is, we're culturally trained to romanticize dysfunction. Romantic movies, literature, and even music feed us the idea that true love involves struggle, sacrifice, and often pain. We grow up believing that love is something we have to earn. That if someone is distant or confused, it's our job to win them over. That being ignored just means they're shy. That if someone hurts us, it's because they're complicated, and it's our responsibility to help them heal. This mentality keeps us in relationships where we feel inadequate, anxious, and constantly uncertain. But let's be clear, real love isn't a puzzle. You shouldn't have to decipher your partner's feelings like a cryptic crossword. You shouldn't be sitting with your friends trying to decode why they didn't text back, or whether I need space actually means I don't want you. We're addicted to complexity because it feels like a challenge, and if we succeed, we think it will mean more. But love isn't a trophy. It's a partnership, and it should be based on mutual clarity and care, not emotional acrobatics. In this part, we confront the myth that complex equals valuable, and why chasing emotionally unavailable people is actually just recreating old wounds, not building love. 2. The almost ready trap. Have you ever dated someone who said, "I'm not ready, but I will be soon"? They like you, they care, they even hint at a future together. But somehow, commitment always seems just out of reach. There's always one more excuse. A career move, emotional baggage, needing to find themselves first. This trap is especially dangerous because it gives you hope. Hope that the relationship is almost there, that if you just wait a little longer, be a little more patient, things will fall into place. You might even think you're building something deep, a connection. Others just don't understand. But here's the truth. Love doesn't require waiting for someone to become ready. People who want to be with you don't keep you in limbo. They show up. They commit. They move toward you, not away. The almost ready person is often emotionally unavailable, not because they're a bad person, but because they haven't done the work. And being their emotional crutch or therapist won't get them there. If anything, it drains you while they stay stagnant. Instead of asking, "How do I get them to choose me?" ask, "Why am I choosing someone who hasn't fully chosen me?" Waiting for love is not noble. It's exhausting. You deserve someone who is ready now, not someone who's always on the verge of becoming the partner you need. Don't let future promises blind you to present inaction. 3. Confusion is not chemistry. When someone constantly confuses us, hot and cold behavior, mixed signals, mood swings, we might confuse that with chemistry. The brain, when uncertain, becomes more alert, more emotionally reactive. That adrenaline rush. It's not love, it's anxiety. We start interpreting their silence as mystery. Their vagueness becomes alluring. We become addicted to the emotional roller coaster. Every small sign of affection feels like a reward, every distant moment like punishment. It's a cycle that keeps us hooked and hurting. Healthy relationships feel secure, not suspenseful. You don't have to wonder what they meant. You don't have to rehearse your messages or decode their tone. Communication is direct. You're not constantly waiting, guessing, or overanalyzing. But when we're used to emotional unpredictability, calm can feel boring. That's a sign of emotional conditioning, often from early relationships where love was inconsistent or conditional. We chase what feels familiar, not necessarily what's good for us. It's time to retrain your heart and mind. Seek consistency, not confusion. Recognize that peace isn't dull, it's safe. And in love, safety is everything. The next time someone leaves you guessing, remember, confusion is not chemistry, and love isn't a mystery you're meant to solve. 4. When busy becomes a habit, not a phase at first. It seems innocent. Sorry, work was crazy today. I meant to call but got caught up. You empathize. Everyone has busy days. But weeks go by, then months, and suddenly, you're in a relationship with someone who is never fully present. The problem isn't the occasional delay, it's the pattern. They rarely respond promptly. You're always fitting into the leftover spaces in their life. You start rationalizing their absence as ambition or independence. But deep down, you feel like an afterthought. In healthy love, effort is made. People make time for what matters. Even a short check-in shows intention. If you're constantly chasing attention, the relationship is one-sided. Emotional availability isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up consistently when busy becomes their default mode. It's often a way of keeping distance. They don't have to say they're not ready. They just stay conveniently unavailable. Meanwhile, you're stuck trying to prove your worth, prioritizing. It's not your job to convince someone to make space for you. Love isn't something you have to earn through patience or persistence. It's offered freely by someone who wants to be present. Don't mistake delay for devotion. If they're always too busy now, they'll always be too busy later. And you deserve more than being someone's optional plan. 5. The therapist trap. Trying to fix your partner when you deeply care for someone. It's natural to want to support them. But what happens when your role shifts from partner to counselor, fixer, or emotional caretaker? Many of us fall into the therapist trap. We date people with unresolved trauma, commitment issues, or emotional volatility, and we believe love means healing them. We spend hours talking through their childhood, unpacking their avoidance, trying to soothe their storms. At first it feels meaningful. You feel special, trusted, needed. But over time, it becomes draining. You're giving and giving, while they make minimal progress. Worse, they may begin to expect your emotional labor, as if it's your responsibility to keep the relationship afloat. The truth is, you can't fix someone who doesn't want to grow. Healing is an inside job. You can offer compassion, but you can't do the work for them. And being their unpaid therapist doesn't make you more lovable. It often just burns you out. Healthy love is reciprocal. Support is mutual. You're allowed to want a partner, not a project. And real connection doesn't require you to sacrifice your well-being for theirs. Ask yourself, are you building a relationship or running a rehabilitation center? There's a difference, and knowing that difference may save you years of heartache. 6. You shouldn't have to convince them. So many people waste time trying to convince someone to love them, to stay, to try harder. They think, if I could just be better, funnier, prettier, more patient, they'd see my worth. This belief turns love into a performance. But here's the hard truth. If someone truly wants you, they don't need convincing. Attraction and commitment aren't negotiations. You don't have to beg someone to see you. The right person sees you and values you from the start. When someone is hesitant or half-in, it's not a challenge, it's a boundary. And the more you try to jump over it, the more you compromise yourself. You start shrinking to fit their comfort zone. You silence your needs. You wait for signs. Love shouldn't be about waiting to be chosen. It's about mutual desire and alignment. And if someone isn't meeting you halfway, you're just dragging yourself along. You're not too much. You're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong person. The one who is right for you won't make you feel like a burden or a puzzle. They'll step up, not step back. You don't need to change to be loved. You just need to walk away from anyone who makes you feel like you do. 7. Love isn't a late-night puzzle. Have you ever stayed up late, journaling about a relationship, trying to figure it out? You replay conversations, analyze every word, compare notes with friends. You feel like you're solving a mystery, but love shouldn't be a riddle. If you're constantly mentally dissecting your partner's behavior, it may be time to ask why. What are you trying to prove, and to whom? Often, this obsession with analysis stems from relationships where we felt unseen. If love was inconsistent in childhood, we may now associate emotional turbulence with meaning. But real love is clear. Yes, there are occasional misunderstandings, but the core feeling is mutual security. You don't have to decode. You just know when we turn our relationships into puzzles, we're not really connecting, we're controlling. We're trying to gain clarity from chaos. But sometimes, the chaos is the answer. If it's always confusing, always complicated, maybe that's not love. Maybe it's your cue to let go. Put down the pen. Close the journal. Love should help you sleep peacefully, not keep you up searching for signs in the dark. 8. Stop glorifying the struggle. We've been conditioned to believe that the more we suffer in love, the more real it is. That intensity equals depth. That if it doesn't hurt a little or a lot, it must be superficial. But this narrative is toxic, and it keeps us trapped in unhealthy dynamics. Struggle doesn't automatically equal value. Of course, all relationships require effort, but effort and pain are not the same thing. Working through disagreements is normal. Chasing someone who consistently disregards your needs is not. When we glorify the struggle, we romanticize emotional neglect. We put partners on pedestals just because they're difficult to reach. We believe that our endurance is a badge of honor. But love shouldn't feel like a war zone. It should feel like shelter. A healthy relationship isn't devoid of challenges, but the challenges are faced together, not caused by each other. You're not walking on eggshells. You're not trying to earn love every day. You're building trust, not recovering from emotional injuries. If you find yourself saying, "This is just how love is," when you're constantly drained or anxious, pause. Ask where that belief came from. Did you learn it from movies? From chaotic past relationships? From caregivers who made love feel conditional? Real love can be calm. It can be joyful. It can be surprisingly simple. Stop glorifying the hardship. Start honoring your peace. 9. You deserve a clear yes. One of the most life-changing lessons in love is this. If it's not a clear yes, it's a no. So many of us stay in situationships, half-baked connections, and ambiguous flings, hoping for clarity that never comes. But love doesn't stutter. The right person doesn't say, maybe. They say, yes. With words, with action, with consistency. If someone needs space to figure out how they feel about you, believe them, they're not ready. And the more you hang on, the more you teach yourself to tolerate emotional crumbs. Clear love shows up, It doesn't leave you doubting. It doesn't vanish when things get serious. And it definitely doesn't make you earn basic consideration. The world has taught you to be patient, to wait, to hope. But that patience often turns into self-abandonment, into quietly accepting a role that should never have been yours. The role of almost enough. You are not an almost. You are a complete, worthy, lovable human being. And the person who truly sees you will never hesitate to choose you. Stop staying in places where your presence feels negotiable. Start seeking the places and people where your worth is undeniable. A clear yes is rare, but once you've experienced it, you'll never settle for uncertainty again. 10. The rule of simplicity. Let's bring it all together with one guiding principle. Love, when it's right, feels simple. Not boring, not perfect, but simple in its foundation. To people who want to be there, to people who make time, to people who communicate clearly and respectfully. It's not about never having disagreements. It's about how you move through them. It's not about constant excitement. It's about enduring safety. The rule of simplicity means we stop mistaking chaos for passion. We stop chasing people who are emotionally unavailable. We stop trying to perform or persuade. Instead, we return to what love is truly about, showing up for each other. Simplicity doesn't mean the absence of depth. It means the presence of clarity. The right person won't be a puzzle. They'll be a presence, a calm anchor, a soft place to land. If someone leaves you anxious more than they leave you at peace, that's your answer. You shouldn't have to journal about every interaction, consult friends for every decision, or decode texts like ancient scrolls. Love isn't supposed to be exhausting. It's supposed to be light-giving. And when you apply the rule of simplicity, you'll start recognizing the difference between those who drain you and those who pour into you. Walk toward the ones who make it simple. That's where real love lives. Final word. Choose peace over provinciove. Been taught that love requires work. That's true. But it should never require proving your worth. It should never be a puzzle, a performance, or a prolonged guessing game. If someone wants you, you'll know. You won't need to chase, fix, or explain yourself repeatedly. You'll feel calm, not confused. Safe, not anxious. Seen, not invisible. Real love is quiet in the best way. It's the text that comes through without delay. The partner who remembers what matters to you. The steady presence that doesn't shake when things get real. You don't have to keep spinning in circles, hoping someone finally sees your value. The right person already sees it, and they meet you where you are. Fully, willingly, lovingly. So choose peace. Choose clarity. Choose the version of love that lets you rest, not wrestle. You've outgrown the need for emotional chaos. Now it's time to embrace the kind of love that feels like home. Because anything less isn't really love at all. Remember, the world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be real. Keep showing up as you.